It's much better not. I'll go on looking out of the window and thinking. I'll choose a definite thing to think about. That's always the best way. That will keep my mind steady. I'll begin at the beginning and go all over it. Resolutely, she switched her mind back to what she called the beginning, that purchase of a ticket in the Irish sweep. It had been an extravagance, but an exciting extravagance. A lot of laughter and teasing chatter in the hairdressing establishment in which Jane and 5 other young ladies were employed.
"What will you do if you win it, dear?" "I know what I'd do."
Plans, castles in the air, a lot of chaff. Well, she hadn't won it being the big prize, but she had won £100. £100.
"You spend half of it, dear. Keep the other half for a rainy day, you never know." "I'd buy a fur coat if I was you, a real tip-top one." "What about a cruise?"
Jane had wavered at the thought of a cruise, but in the end she had remained faithful to her first idea. A week at Lepine. So many of her ladies had been going to Lepine or just come back from Lepine. Jane, her clever fingers patting and manipulating the waves, her tongue uttering mechanically the usual clichés. "Let me see. How long is it since you had your perm, madam? Your hair's such an uncommon colour, madam. What a wonderful summer it's been, hasn't it, madam?" Had thought to herself, "Why the devil can't I go to Lepine?" Well, now she could. Clothes presented small difficulty. Jane, like most London girls employed in smart places, could produce a miraculous effect of fashion for a ridiculously small outlay. Nails, make-up and hair were beyond reproach. Jane went to Lepine. Was it possible that now, in her thoughts, 10 days at Lepine had dwindled down to one incident? An incident at the roulette table. Jane allowed herself a certain amount each evening for the pleasures of gambling. That sum she was determined not to exceed. Contrary to the prevalent superstition, Jane's beginner's luck had been bad. This was her 4th evening, and the last stake of that evening. So far she had staked prudently on colour or on one of the dozens. She had won a little, but lost more. Now she waited, her stake in her hand. There were 2 numbers on which nobody had staked, 5 and 6. Should she put this, her last stake, on one of those numbers? If so, which of them, 5 or 6? Which did she feel? 5. 5 was going to turn up. The ball was spun. Jane stretched out her hand. 6. She'd put it on 6. Just in time, she and another player opposite staked simultaneously, she on 6, he on 5. "Rien ne va plus," said the croupier. The ball clicked, settled. "Le numéro 5, rouge impair manque." Jane could have cried with vexation. The croupier swept away the stakes, paid out. The man opposite said, "Aren't you going to pick up your winnings?" "Mine?" "Yes." "But I put on 6. "Indeed you didn't. I put on 6 and you put on 5. He smiled. A very attractive smile. White teeth in a very brown face, blue eyes, crisp short hair. Half unbelievingly, Jane picked up her gains. Was it true? She felt a little muddled herself. Perhaps she had put her countess on 5. She looked doubtingly at the stranger, and he smiled easily back. "That's right," he said. "Leave a thing lying there and somebody else will grab it, who has got no right to it. That's an old trick." Then, with a friendly little nod of the head, he had moved away. That, too, had been nice of him. She might have suspected otherwise, but he had let her take his winnings in order to scrape acquaintance with her. But he wasn't that kind of man. He was nice. And here he was, sitting opposite to her. And now it was all over. The money spent. Her last 2 days, rather disappointing days, in Paris, and now home on her return air ticket. And what next? "Stop," said Jane to her mind. "Don't think of what's going to happen next. It'll only make you nervous." The 2 women had stopped talking. She looked across the gangway. The Dresden Chinawoman exclaimed petulantly, examining a broken fingernail. She rang the bell, and when the white-coated steward appeared, she said, "Send my maid to me. She's in the other compartment." "Yes, my lady." The steward, very deferential, very quick and efficient, disappeared again. A dark-haired French girl dressed in black appeared. She carried a small jewel case. Lady Horbury spoke to her in French. "Madeline, I want my red morocco case." The maid passed along the gangway. At the extreme end